The Manston team were formed 3 years ago. The majority of our team are farmers or farm labourers, or are in allied trades such as building, contracting and electrical, which most of their work is involved on the farm buildings. Farmers and farm labourers are individualists. They have to be individualists in their day-to-day work. But when they come into the tug-of-war team, they've got to leave that behind and become a member of that team and all act as one.
Way, haul away, we'll haul away, John. Never in the house, the little boy, and told me father told me. Way, haul away, we'll haul away, John. That if I didn't kiss the girl, my lips would grow all mouldy. Way, haul away, we'll haul away, John. Haul away, we'll haul away for Rosie. Way, haul away, we'll haul away, John. St. Patrick was an Irish and he come and lead the people. Way, haul away, we'll haul away, John. He built the church in Dublin and said on it built the steeple. Way, haul away, we'll haul away, John. Way, haul.
It's not natural, really, for us to work together. It's not natural for us to be reasonable. As human beings, we're always at loggerheads with each other. But if you get people to talk together, reason together, and give and take, then you start getting harmony, you start getting teamwork, you start getting achievement.
Way, haul away, we'll haul away, John.
Pick up the rope. Take the spade.
Even when the idea is the product of one single man's imagination, the result comes from a number of men working together as a team.
Pull!
The more that each man subordinates his own ego to the team, the more effective the result. It's a mental process as well as a physical one. Tug-of-war is the perfect example. It's often described as a sport with many brilliant teams, but no individual stars.
Right on, lads. Walk it back now. Walk it back. Take it back a bit quicker. Come on. Walk it back a bit quicker. Right, down here for the night. See you in the pub. Right,
It takes years to get a good team, to weld a collection of individuals into a unit.
Come on, there, that was good.
One of the first members of the Manston Tug-of-war team was, of course, Martin Lewis, who is a builder by trade. John Starkey is also involved in this contract work connected with the electrical side. Most of them have the same interests. Nearly all the members of the team are local lads, although possibly living a few miles apart. They all seem to meet in one particular village, namely Sturminster Newton. And of course, training twice a week brings them together even more. The club were very fortunate in getting an excellent coach, in Mr. Ned Kelly, who previously had coached the Pompey Police and the Pompey Gas.
Peter Edlin is secretary of the Manston Tug-of-war Club. He's also a member of the executive committee of the Tug-of-war Association for Hampshire and Dorset.
I'd really consider it.
Yes, well, we've got two matches before the great steam rally there, including the Manston House one. By that time, we shall know exactly how they face up to this.
Yeah.
Incidentally, I've had a letter from Bill Hilliard telling me that, confirming that the South African touring teams are going to enter for the steam rally.
Are they national?
Yes, but they're not unbeatable. In any case, I must write to him and confirm that about their bookings in Blandford.
Okay, thanks very much. That seems to have tied up all their points. Oh, by the way, I'm confirming that the South African teams will be competing at Blandford Steam Engine Rally. Okay, thank you very much. Okay. You were saying, sorry about that.
Are you allowed substitutes in tug-of-war all the time?
No, you're not allowed substitutes in tug-of-war once the team has actually pulled.
Well, that's fine, because I've been to some competitions and I've seen 8 blokes on a weighbridge being weighed.
Bill Hilliard, ex-naval boxing champion, ex-Borstal officer, now General Secretary of the Tug-of-war Association. This was founded in 1958. It now has well over 300 teams registered with it, and the number is rapidly growing. The thriving condition of tug-of-war as a competitive sport has grown from obscure origins. In some primitive societies in the Far East, tug-of-war matches celebrated the completion of the harvest. It probably began in this country as an offshoot of more serious work involving ropes. Army gun teams, particularly in India during the last century, would challenge each other to a contest during time off. The Navy can also claim to have originated the sport. Men trained in hauling on ropes would turn to pitting their strength against each other for light relief. The first reference to tug-of-war as an organized sport appeared at the end of the 19th century. By 1912, it was included in the Olympic Games, and the police team won a gold medal. In common with other team events, it was dropped from the Olympics in 1921. Despite this, the sport continued to grow in popularity. However, even at this time, the real enthusiast, the dedicated tug-of-war man, was working towards the founding of the Tug-of-War Association. This, he considered, was the only way in which the sport was going to be taken seriously.
The idea of the rig and the putting up of the weights, the bucket, the tripod, is basically to get the team into harmony and to make them think like one man. In fact, in other words, get the feel of the tightness of the rope and all act as one.
Tug-of-war Handbook. Advice to coaches. The team should train together, if possible, at least on 2 occasions each week, and never less than once a week. Road work will develop the legs as well as getting men generally fit. It should consist of walks about 4 miles per hour, carried out in sweaters, trousers and boots. Never let men in training get cold. Make a point of walking over heavy ground and over a certain amount of rough ground in order to strengthen the ankles. It is also a good policy to give men a sheet of newspaper to crumple in each hand as they walk along. These will develop the grip. Rope climbing without use of the legs is a good exercise for the grip and for the heaving muscles. The body should be strengthened gradually, and particular attention should be paid to the abdominal, torso and heaving muscles.
To get a team of any standing, one must, at the very minimum, train once a week, and during the season, at least twice a week. And this is a pretty strict rule with our club. If chaps are not prepared to come to the training sessions twice a week, then of course they're not expected to pull the weekends or at any fixture.
2!
Well, Manston starts their first training matches in April when we hold the Wessex League. That's held the first 3 Sundays in April. Their first match, in fact, comes off on in the first week in May, and they continue pulling at various events until the end of September. We hold the event at Manston House mainly for the convenience of the Manston village and the surrounding area, so that most of the people who have heard of the Manston Club can in fact go to a match and see them in action. And naturally we like to create a good impression by winning.
It's not just a question of weight or brawn. A properly trained team can take on twice their own number of untrained men, and the odd trained one as well.
We won quite a number of cups this year. Of course, our greatest ambition is to win the lightweight in the Nationals. And I think we stand a very good chance, because our team are rather light in comparison, and we think we now have the experience to be able to pull against teams that have stood in the forefront too long.
In the forefront, for as long as anyone in tug-of-war can remember, are a team called Wood Treatment, formerly known as Bosley Farmers. They've represented England in every international since 1964 and won each time. They've also won every national championship since 1959. To join the club is considered an honour. To be selected for the team is an added responsibility placed on this honour. They train hard, but above all, they are disciplined. Their discipline is almost military. Indeed, no sport requires as much discipline as tug-of-war. Discipline is a mental attitude, a common will to succeed, whether in the arena or the battlefield. Not surprisingly, the Army has produced some very good teams.
Little Sally Racket, pull him away. In the bullet basket, pull him away. If you never did regret me, pull him away. I say me holy high ho, pull him away. That's a kicking dinner, pull him away. This is a beginner, pull him away. But she prefers to dinner, pull him away. I know it's up with banana, pull him away. I say me holy high ho, pull him away. Pull him away. He ran up to the mountain. Pull him away. And then he got a little bastard. Pull him away. I said me holy high ho. Pull him away. I come to the Dorset. Pull him away. Got red man and rolls on. Pull him away. Long said the old boatman. Pull him away.
Discipline and physique are not enough by themselves. The key to success is relentless training. To learn how to get the maximum result for the minimum effort, brute force and subtlety. The art of fighting a losing battle while still watching for an opportunity to snatch victory. The art of winning all in a rush without falling over. The small but important differences in technique between outdoor tug-of-war and indoor tug-of-war. A more recent variation on the sport.
Losing the ropes. Now you're taking a rope short bases and regulate your pressure. Keep that pressure going on, alternating. Don't give a fraction of an inch. Keep going, head well back, breathe in naturally, don't hold your breath.
Once, the arrival of autumn and early darkness meant long evenings over a pint of beer, talking about last summer's successes and next season's plans. Now, there's a winter season as well.
No member of the team had experienced this before. It was unfortunate they left it so late, because already the indoor championships were close on the door. They could get very little training in before this event.
Well, we'll find out on Sunday, I suppose.
Yeah, most of them got baseball boots and that sort of thing, haven't they?
Yeah, but it's an argue. It's a toss, really. Some say baseball boots, some say training shoes.
Yeah.
I suppose, well, as I say, we'll find out on Sunday. It's one way or the other.
The indoor national championships are held every year at the Crystal Palace. It's run as a knockout competition. This means, of course, that a small team with no experience of indoor tug-of-war could find themselves drawn against the world champions.
Well, they were late arriving at the Crystal Palace, driver having lost his way, only to walk through the doors and learn that they'd been drawn against Wood Treatment. If the team had been nervous at any time, this was the moment.
Now can we have Manston and Wood Treatment, please?
Wood Treatment have won so many cups over so long a period that they have themselves donated cups to be awarded to the runners-up each year. As there's no possibility of digging in with indoor tug-of-war, each team tries for a quick heave to victory. The result, as with the outdoor variety, is decided by the best of three pulls, the teams changing ends between each pull. The result is often reached in a matter of seconds.
it's so quickly over that before they've got time to regain their senses, the match had been lost.
Wood treatment can add to all their other qualities one more. They have a psychological advantage. They are known to be unbeatable.
I think when they withdrew wood treatment, they lost more by nervousness than actual skill. Nevertheless, I think we learned a great deal from them.
Put it down to experience, and it's soon healed. But there comes a time to put all that experience and training to the test.
As you know, Ned Kelly's been waiting to go into the hospital, and he's now been called, so he won't be with us tomorrow. Good news, I've asked Henry to coach you tomorrow, and I shall expect you to give him the same support.
Every team has one event that is particularly important in its calendar. An event that they particularly want to win. Rules of the Tug-of-war Association: ground markings. 3 lines parallel to each other shall be marked on the ground. The distance between the center line and each of the other lines shall be 2 meters.
We are handicapped by the fact that the majority of our team are members of a farming community. The harvest season cuts right into the middle of our training period, and one of the biggest problems we have is knowing precisely what members of the club will in fact be pulling on that Saturday.
Tug-of-war handbook, advice to coaches. To select men to form a team, it should be borne in mind that tug-of-war is an exceedingly strenuous exercise. The men selected must therefore be definitely keen, hard-working, and cheerful characters. The men best suited for tug-of-war should have or be able to develop broad shoulders, thick thighs and legs, and well-developed arms. Above all, they must have plenty of grit. And be prepared to put up with any amount of hard work. Rules of the Tug-of-war Association: weight and stamping. In competitions confined to specified weights, stewards shall be responsible to the judges for correctly weighing and stamping or marking competitors before the start. The stamping and marking of competitors shall be done on a limb in a position easily seen by the judge, but not easily erased by the rope or competitor's clothing.
I think one of the reasons why Manston are keen to win the event at the Great Steam Workings is that the majority of the population of Dorset attend this event. I would say it's one of the largest attended events in the country. When one thinks of 80,000 people, and even if only a quarter of those people are around the arena, this is probably the largest audience watching a tug-of-war event in the country.
Now, it's always a pleasure to welcome particularly new teams, and on this occasion we're extremely lucky, a team from South Africa.
Manston are in their third year now. They've got the training, they've got the know-how. If they can only win that first pool, I don't think there's any team that can beat them.
And now we have the draw for this competition, right? Are you ready? Thank you. First team, Camberley. Camberley of Surrey will pull BAC, also of Surrey. Now, thank you. Manston, our host club, will compete against our visitors, South Africa.
Manston against South Africa. David drawn against Goliath in the first round, and 20,000 Dorset men in at the kill.
Assembly point when required. Now may we have their first...
They've lost the nervousness now. They know what to expect, and they go out to give their best.
Tug-of-war handbook, advice to coaches. In addition to the hard physical effort and grit demanded by the individual, there must be the highest order of self-discipline and cooperation in the interest of the team. This fact must be accepted if a tug-of-war team worthy of the name is to be built and maintained. It's not the winning or the losing that matters, but the glory in having participated. So the saying goes. There is, however, a considerable pleasure in winning against all the odds. The South African national team defeated by a village with a population of 500.
Congratulations, Manston. But I think both these teams deserve a very...
We had high hopes of winning the 640 kilo, and our hopes were even built up further when we beat the South Africans in the first round.
Manston and Camberley.
Unfortunately, Camberley beat us in the next round, but nevertheless our hopes weren't abandoned, having beaten the South Africans, and we feel sure that another time we equally do the same to Camberley. Oh yes, it's a great thing to win, especially to go home with a challenge trophy. They didn't expect to lose, but they lost. And I think they put this down to an error they had made in their tactics or in their actual pulling. But we celebrate just the same, win or lose. It's a day's sport to us.
We call upon Derry to sing us a song. We call upon Derry to sing us a song. We call upon Derry to sing us a song. So sing, everybody, sing us a song.
Cheers, Dad.
It's no good having one good man. You've got to have a good team. Then you can get from that unit the maximum they can produce at any one time. It's this harmony. To produce results, you must have teamwork.